We're here in Grow a Garden, and as you can see, we're getting the new frost event currently happen, which basically gives us a 50% growth speed, higher chilled and frozen fruit chance. And as you can see my whole screen, I am shivering and it's pretty cold, but you could get the new mutation, the chilled. As you can see, my bamboo is getting frozen from this new mutation. So currently in the game there are 3 biomes. There is frost, which is the new one that they added in this update. There is also a rain event, which is the most common event, and then the thunder, which I think might be the rarest event that happens. It happens like every 5 hours. But here is the new chilled event. Once the event does end, I'm gonna collect these bamboos and check the price on them, since I have no idea what the multiplier on this chilled frozen sell for. So once the event does end, I'm definitely gonna collect these bamboos. I'm gonna check the price on a frozen bamboo and then a regular bamboo to see how much of a difference it does get. As you can see, it's literally snowing. I actually didn't even know there was a new event in the game, which is pretty actually cool that they added. And there you go, it ended. So we're gonna collect it. So it seems like there's also another mutation here, so we're gonna collect the candy blossom, which has the new mutation. So I think there's 2 mutations. There's a chilled and then there's a frozen. This chill right here, which is a chilled candy blossom 4 kg, I'm gonna check the price on that. This goes for 367,000 shekels. And then we're gonna check here a candy blossom 4 kg, which is just a regular candy blossom, same weight, 184. So it's a ×2 multiplier, the chill. And over here we have a frozen bamboo. This actually is a pretty cool mutation. It's literally frozen. So we're gonna collect 1 frozen bamboo, and we're also gonna collect a bamboo. We're gonna collect this one since that one is wet, which also increases the mutation when you get that. So we have a frozen bamboo right here, and then we have a regular bamboo here. So we're gonna first check the price on a regular bamboo. A regular bamboo goes for $4,400, and the frozen bamboo goes for 56,000 shekels. So that is a huge increasement. So the frozen mutation is way better than the chilled mutation. That is the new frozen mutation. We also got the new chilled mutation, which is right over here, which basically snow falling out of the candy blossom. But before we end off this video, we also do have here a frozen grape. I'm curious on the price on this frozen grape right here. Frozen grape, this is actually a pretty sick mutation. Didn't even know they added this, but this goes for 70,000 kg. That is insane. 70,000 kg. We also did got a frozen candy blossom. Let's take a look at this. This is actually very curious to take a look at these prices. So right here we have a frozen candy blossom, which weighs 2.3 kg. Let's take a look at the price of this. This goes for 900,000 shekels. That is insane. 900,000 shekels. I'm kind of curious if the wet and shock mutation stack on this, because if it does, that's gonna even make this way more expensive. And one thing I did notice is that they fixed the sizes of the candy blossoms. As you can see right here, before this update, the candy blossoms were small and it just went really high up the higher weight it was, and now it actually shows the full big candy blossom on how it looks like when it's high weight, which is actually pretty sick that they fixed this, because it was glitched. I could actually see how big a candy blossom is. But that is the new 2 mutation, a frozen mutation and a chilled mutation. I have no idea how rare this event is, but if I had to guess, it's probably almost as rare as a thunder. But that is the new event. There's a total of 3 events: thunder, snow, and rain, which if I had to guess, rain is the most common. Second is probably frozen, and the third is shock, since I'm pretty sure that is the highest multiplier you could get from a mutation is the shock. So I figured out the multipliers. A chill gives a ×2 multiplier, and a frozen gives a ×10 multiplier. There was also barely just a thunderstorm. As you can see, it did shock here a candy blossom. I'm not sure if it does have the chilled mutation, but we're gonna collect that in a second here. But yeah, the chilled mutation gives a ×2 multiplier, which I was right, and then the frozen gives a ×10 multiplier. So we're gonna put a chocolate sprinkler on this, since it is shocked. I have no idea if it has the chilled mutation. Obviously it doesn't have the frozen, but we're gonna put this chocolate sprinkler there to see how much that candy blossom cost. So we're gonna see here. So it did have the chilled mutation, so we have a chilled chocolate shock candy blossom. So let's take a look at the price of this. So this is just a regular candy blossom with the chilled and chocolate shocked mutation, and I think that costed 9.2 million shekels. But that is the 2 new mutations. Once again, the chilled gives a ×2 multiplier, and then the frozen gives a ×10 multiplier. This is definitely gonna be pretty fun to see how expensive fruits now B, since I think the most expensive fruit that I did got was that candy blossom that I was just barely showing, the big candy blossom. This one right here, which if we go over here to check the price, it goes for 1.9 billion shekels. This big candy blossom right here, that is insane. 1.9 billion shekels. So this is the most expensive thing that I've gotten. Obviously you could get even more expensive items, and also the mushroom is the most expensive thing. I don't know if the Venus plant is the most expensive thing you could get, since I haven't tried that out. But this is definitely going to be pretty fun seeing how expensive candy blossom could go now with all these mutations. But hopefully it could stack, because if it doesn't, then I guess it can't really be more expensive. But that is the new frozen chilled mutation, the new weather, which is pretty sick that they added a new weather. I didn't even know that they added a new weather, but that is the new snow weather event.